Hello friends, today we are here for operating system. We will discuss few topics of process scheduling. Here are the COs according to the AKTU syllabus. First CO is about understand the structure and functions of operating system. Second CO is to understand the principle of concurrency and deadlocks. Third CO is to learn about processes, threads and scheduling algorithms. Fourth CO is learn various memory management schemes. Fifth CO is to study input-output management and file systems. We will concentrate on CO number 3, that is learn about processes, threads and scheduling algorithms. So what is CPU scheduling? CPU scheduling is a process that allows one process to use the CPU while another process is on standby due to unavailability of any resource, that is input, output, etc. That simply means we have multiple processes in the main memory while we are using multi-programming environment. So one has to select a process that is executed on the processor. That decision is done by CPU scheduling algorithms. The purpose of CPU scheduling is to make the system more efficient, faster and fairer. In a number of processes, CPU scheduling algorithms select only one process at a time to make CPU busy. Whenever the CPU becomes idle, the operating system must select one of the processes in the line of ready queue. That ready queue also exists in main memory. What is process? A process is a program in execution. For example, if we have a program written in C or C++ and compile it, the compiler creates binary code. Both the original code and the binary code, both the programs are programs only. But when we actually run the binary code, it becomes a process. So we can say a process is an active entity and program is a passive entity. A single program can create many processes if we run multiple times. For example, if we open an .exe file multiple times, multiple instances begin. The process from its creation to completion passes through various states that we represent in transition state diagram. So there are minimum 5 states. First state is new state, second is ready, third is running, fourth is waiting and final state is terminated. A process, we can say a process in a new state if it is not in main memory. If it is admitted to main memory, it is in ready state. That simply means it is ready to run, it is ready to execute. Then a dispatcher selects one process from this ready queue and post it on processor for execution. During the execution, if a process needs some input output or a process of higher precedence or priority came, then this running process interrupted and comes to waiting state. From this waiting state, the process is then went to ready state, ready to running, and if the process completes its execution, the process is terminated. Next topic is process control block. A process control block is nothing but a data structure that contains information about the process related to it. The process control block is also known as a task control block, entry to the process table, etc. It also defines the current state of the operating system. It contains following informations. For example, process state, in which it describes that if process P1, it is a process control block of process P1, then in which state process P1 is currently. Like for example, it is maybe in new state, ready state, running, waiting, or it is terminated. When a process is terminated, this process control block is deleted. Process number is the second information. There are many processes in the main memory, so every process assigned with a unique number, that is process ID or PID. This process number is unique for all the processes which are in the main memory. It uses as a process identifier. Process counter, it contains the address of the next instruction that needs to be executed in the process if process is having multiple lines to execute. Register represents, these are the CPU register which includes accumulator, base register, general purpose register, the number of register and the name of the register the process currently using. Memory limits, this field contains the information about memory management system used by operating system, which memory will be used by the process of this process control block. This may include the page table, segment table, etc. Open file list, for example, if we are talking about process P1 and this process control block of process P1, then number of files and the name of the files which are currently using by the process P1 is listed over here. Pointers, it is a stack pointer which is required to be saved when the process is switched from one state to another to retain the current position of the process. The process scheduling is the activity of process manager that handles the removal of the running process from the CPU and the selection of another process on the basis of particular strategies. Process scheduling is an essential part of multiprogramming, as we already talked about. Such operating system allow more than one process to be loaded on the main memory at a time, and the loaded processes share the CPU using time multiplexing. There are two categories of CPU scheduling. First one is non-preemptive, second is preemptive. In non-preemptive CPU scheduling, here the resources cannot be taken from a process until the process completes its execution. The switching of resources occurs when the running process terminates or moves to a waiting state. No one can interrupt in between the execution of the process. While if we are using preemptive CPU scheduling, we can allocate OS the resources to a process for a fixed amount of time. During resource allocation, the process switches from running state to ready state or from waiting state to ready state. This switching occurs as the CPU may give in priority to the other processes and replace the process which with higher priority with the running process. So that means we can preempt the resources forcefully from any process which are actually in the execution. For this purpose, we have a number of schedulers. Schedulers are the special system softwares which handle process scheduling in various ways. Their main task is to select the jobs to be submitted into the system and to decide which process to run. Schedulers are of mainly three types. First one is short-term scheduler, second is long-term scheduler, and medium-term schedulers. A long-term scheduler is also called job scheduler. A long-term scheduler determines which programs are admitted to system for processing. It selects processes from the queue and loads them into memory for execution. On some systems, the long-term scheduler may not be available, or it may be used at minimal. The time-sharing operating system have no long-term scheduler. When a process changes the state from new to ready, then there is use of long-term scheduler. If a process is in new state, the long-term scheduler will select the one process from this new state to ready state. A short-term scheduler is also called CPU scheduler. Its main objective is to select one process from the ready queue that will be allocated to the CPU. It uses for increase in system performance in accordance with the chosen set of criteria. It is the change of ready state to running state of the process. CPU scheduler selects a process among the processes that are already in ready queue and ready to execute, and it allocates CPU to one of them. Short-term scheduler, also known as dispatcher. make the decision of which process is to execute next. Short-term schedulers are faster than long-term schedulers. Medium-term scheduling, it is a part where swapping is used. It removes the process from the memory. It reduces the degree of multi-programming. The medium-term scheduler is in charge of handling the swapping and swap out process. Running process if it makes an input output request, then medium term scheduler comes in picture. It swaps out the process, and after completion of the input output, it then plays the process from waiting to ready state. A suspended process cannot make any progress towards completion. In this condition, to remove the process from memory and make space for other processes, the suspended processes is removed to the secondary storage. This process is called swapping, and the process is said to be swapped out or rolled out. Swapping may be necessary to improve the process mix. Here is the state diagram where process P1 is currently executing. Then we save the state of process P1 and gives the processor to process P2. After some time we may restore the save the state of process P2 and restore the process P1. Hence CPU will always be busy. Here are the few performance criteria which will tell us that which algorithm is good in some circumstances. First one is CPU utilization. It is the percentage of time the CPU is executing the processes. That simply means whenever the system is idle, the CPU utilization decreases. Throughput is, it is the number of processes the system can execute in a period of time. The number of processes executed in we can say per unit time. Turnaround time is the average time it takes a process to execute. That is the interval between the time of submission of a process and completion of, and it should be as less as possible. The turnaround time is the submission to the ready queue till termination of the process. Waiting time is the average period of time a process is spent in waiting. That is the sum of time interval for which the process has to wait in the ready queue. It is called waiting time. Response time is the average time it takes the system to start responding to use inputs on an interactive system. CPU scheduling algorithm must try to minimize turnaround time, waiting time and response time, and it must maximize CPU utilization and throughput. Everyone.